Hello everyone, welcome back. I believe that any of you guys who's watching this video is already used to the concept of net present value, as I have explained precisely in the first video of the course. But for today, we will discover chapter 8, net present value and other investment criteria. We broaden our topic to investment criteria, how to make good investment decisions. To answer how to make investment decisions, we need to find out 5 key points. First, are all the cash flow considered with the strategy we're using? Will the strategy we use consider the time value of the money? Is the investing strategy we are using risk adjusted? Do we have the ability to rank the projects? And finally, will the investing strategy indicate added value to the firm? NPV, net present value, is indeed the first investing strategy that we're going to study today. So NPV decision rule is that if the NPV is positive, we accept the project. And an NPV larger than 0 means that the project is expected to add it to the firm, and it will increase the wealth of the owners. These sentences means that if the NPV is larger than 0, which means that you can expect your investment to make money, you will expect that your money will come back after you invest it. Therefore, it will increase the wealth of the owner and add value to the firm. Therefore, NPV is a direct measure of how well this project will meet the goal of increasing shareholder wealth. In other words, NPV is a direct measure of how well this project will maximize the shareholder value. Even though you guys are already familiar with this concept, but just a reminder, this is the formula. So the NPV is equal to all the future cash flow discounted to the current time. For this formula, I just want to elaborate it a little bit. Here we have the sigma sign. The sigma sign indicates the total sum of everything. For the sigma, t is equal to 0. 0 means current time. So we start from current time, year 0, until year end, which is the end of the period. CFT, and 1 plus r to the power of t, just like what we have studied before. So, let's answer these 5 questions together. Is NPV a good investing strategy? Are all the cash flow considered? Yes, of course. We consider every cash flow from year 0 until year end. Is the time value of the money considered? Of course. Again, year 0 until year end, the end of the period. Is it risk adjusted? Yes, of course. Why? In the formula, we can see R is the required return. And in the reality, the required return is an expected rate by the market. And how do people expect a required return? They expect a required return knowing the risk of a project. So it is adjusted for risk. So can we rank the project? Of course, because different projects will generate different cash flow. So there will be projects which have better NPV than the other project. So we can rank the projects based on NPV. And will it indicate the added value to the firm? Yes, of course. Just like what I have explained, it increases the wealth of the owner. It maximizes the shareholder value. Therefore, it indicates added value to the firm. So the second investing strategy we can use is payback period. So what is the payback period? Let's first together review the definition. So payback period, trying to answer the question, how long does it take to recover the initial cost of a project? And to compute it, the first step, we need to estimate the cash flows. Then, we subtract the future cash flow from the initial cost until initial investment is recovered. Therefore, this is a break-even type measure. The decision rule is that we only accept if the payback period is less than some preset limit. Let's do an example together to understand it. Here, we want to try to answer the question. If we desire a 2-year period return, 2-year period return, will we accept the project if we desire a 2-year period return? Let's take a look at the example. In year 0, you have the cash flow of minus 165,000 USD. How do I know this is a negative number? Well, because it's inside a bracket. People put it inside a bracket. And it is just common sense because you invest in something means that you take the money out of your own pocket, therefore it creates a negative number. So minus 165,000 is the cash flow in year 0. How about cumulative cash flow? It's also minus 165,000. So I believe that you guys are gonna ask, so what is a cumulative cash flow? So cumulative cash flow is calculated by adding up all the cash inflows and subtracting all the cash outflows from the start of the project or investment up to a specific point in time. For here, we have outflows of 165,000. Meanwhile, the inflow is $0. Therefore, the cumulative cash flow is equal to minus 165,000 USD. In year 1, you have 63,120 cash inflow. Because this project start to generate money from year 1. So the cumulative cash flow is 63,120 minus the cash outflow in year 0, which is 165,000. And it's equal to 101,880. And similar concept up to year 3, where you have the cash flow of 91,080 and the cumulative cash flow of 60,000. But for the payback period, how do we compute it? Here, the answers say that year 2 plus 31,080 divided by 91,080. So why do you start from year number 2? Why do you use 31,080? So the easy explanation is that, so in year number 3, for the first time, we start to have positive cumulative cash flow. And year number 2 is the closest year to year number 3, which is the year that we start to have cumulative cash flow. Therefore, in the formula, it is indicated that we have year number 2. So we use year number 2. Year number 2 stands for the year which is closest to the year when we start to generate cumulative cash flow. That is positive. Then we use the cumulative cash flow of year number 2. But we use the positive form of it instead of minus 31,080 divided by 91,080, which is the cash flow in year number 3. In total, we'll get 2.34 years. So if we desire a 2-year period return, should we accept this project? Well, the answer is definitely no. Because we desire 2 years, but this project will pay your money back only in 2.34 years, which is longer, much more longer than 2 years. So we should not use this as an investing strategy. But let's take a look at the whole. Should we use payback period as our primary decision rule? Are the cash flow considered? Yes. Is the time value of money considered? Definitely no, because they are not discounted. They are not discounted based on the market condition. Is that risk adjusted? Definitely no. There's no required return. Do we have the ability to rank the project? It's a yes and no. Why do I say yes and no? Yes, in terms of liquidity, because you know that how long will your money get back to you, to your pocket? But no, because in reality, there are many kind of projects where people require research and development. And research and development project tends to take a long time until you can get your money back. But there are also projects which we need quick liquidity. Therefore, it is a yes and it is also a no. So where it indicates an added value to the firm? No, it's not. Therefore, payback period should not be our primary decision rule. Indeed, we should use NPV, which is better, way more better than payback period. And the final investing strategy is IR, internal rate of return. So according to definition, internal rate of return is the discount rate that makes the NPV equal to zero. The decision rule is that we only accept the project if the IRR is greater than the required return. Why? Let's take a look at the graph below to understand. On the vertical line, we see the NPV of the project, starting from minus 20,000 to 70,000 USD. And on the horizontal line is the discount rate. So let me explain this graph. So this line, the skew line here indicates the NPV of the project according to the discount rate. For example, here, if we have the discount rate of 0.02, which is 2%, the according NPV will be $50,000. And respectively, if the discount rate is 4%, we'll have a 40,000 NPV. Up until here, we have 10,000 NPV. And the according discount rate will be 14%. And here's where the IRR comes to play. IRR 16.13%. So if we take a look here, right at this point is 16.13%. The NPV is equal to 0. So anywhere on the left of IRR, which means the discount rate is smaller than IRR, we can see that the NPV is larger than 0. And just I have explained before, the NPV decision rule is that whenever NPV is larger than 0, we will accept the project. Therefore, whenever the R is smaller than the internal rate of the return, the required return, the discount rate is smaller than the internal rate return, the NPV will be larger than 0, and therefore we will accept the project. But if we take the look on the right of IR, which is IR smaller than required return, the NPV is immediately smaller than 0 here. Is from minus 10,000 to minus 20,000. So therefore, we won't accept the project if the IR is smaller than R. In other words, if the IR exceeds the return, it indicates that the investment is expected to generate returns higher than the minimum acceptable threshold. This suggests the investment is potentially more profitable than the alternative options. And here comes the formula of IRR. So for NPV, if we use the BA calculator or anything, we enter the R and we solve for NPV. We enter the required return, we solve for the NPV. But now instead of inputting the required return, we already know what is the NPV, because as I have explained, the IR will make the NPV equal to 0. So we just need to remove the NPV with 0 And here we will find the R, which is the IRR in the formula. So this is the only difference between NPV and IRR method. So for the last word, so will IRR be a good decision criteria? Let's answer this question again. Out of the cash flow considered, yes, of course. Look at the formula. It starts from CF0 to CFN. Will the time value of the money considered? Yes, of course. Is that risk adjusted? It is risk adjusted, of course, because we are trying to find the required return. Do we have the ability to run the projects? Yes, we do. And will it indicate the added value to the firm? Well, we won't, because the NPV is always equal to 0. Therefore, it indicates no added value to the firm. So is IR should be a primary investing strategy? Yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But we always consider NPV first. To explain the reason why we always consider NPV first, we will see each other again on the next video, where I will clearly explain it.